Hello guys and welcome to my budget deck channel where I try to present you budget decks that either I came up with or some subscribers requested. You always feel free to request some kind of decks, and if I can find a way to make the budget or if I have the time and I really like the archetype, then I will do that. So, which is the case for Gimmick Puppets. I got asked if I could make one, and why not? There we go. Price wise, this is like gonna be between like 30 and 60 bucks depending on what extra deck cards you run. If you want to run, for example, stuff like BOL Sword, even though the reprint made it a little bit cheaper but not much cheaper, you can do this. But the deck can actually spam links somewhat a little bit more than other decks could. Not super crazy, but getting a link 4 out isn't the hardest task of this deck, let me tell you that. From the deck style, it's a go second deck. You see this with the Kaijus, lot of hand traps, and an OTK potential card, since this deck is very good at spamming rank 4s. Well, let's start right into the deck profile. For Kaijus, all are level 8 because this is a rank 8 focused deck. You see it in the X deck a little bit. We have a lot of Xyz Monsters. We decided to not go like a Link heavier build, since you kind of want to OTK and finish your opponent as quickly as possible. Getting rid of negates is kind of important, and maybe setting up with this card for rank 8 is quite neat as well. A card that not a lot of people run, Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. I just felt good because the giant grinder actually in the deck, you can, it's not hard once per turn, so technically, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you send this card, use both the effects, destroy 2 monsters, then send it to the graveyard Nightmare, maybe you have a Dreary Roll that you can still activate or some other card, then you could get this card out again and get rid of 2 other cards again, which I think would be pretty neat, since it's no hard once per turn or twice per turn. I don't even know if this hard twice per turn exists. So I felt like this was not as bad as a card as it seems like. After this, you can only special summon Gimmick Puppet Monsters, which is okay. It's not super bad. A card that is very good in this deck is if your opponent controls a monster and all monsters you control are Gimmick Puppet Monsters, you have to have a Gimmick Puppet on board for this, sadly, which is not super hard. You run a fair share amount of level 4s actually. Then this card can actually be used for any kind of Xyz monster, which is nice. Plus, I think it's not saying anywhere that has to be once per turn. So technically, if you start with double of them, you could go into any rank 8 at this point if you already have a Gimmick Puppet monster on board. Not super easy all the time then if you start with 2 of them already, but can help. Another take card in this deck, Machina Cannon, is, in my opinion, because it's level 8 monster, you can dump 1 machine monster into the graveyard, which helps you set up for Dreary Doll, and maybe go into any kind of rank 8s with this card, or the Link monster. So I felt like this card was kind of helpful, but there's probably other ways. There's, like, for example, the Sky Striker engine that could get you into your Link monster easily. There is all kinds of cards where, like, I think the Hamstrat, if I'm not mistaken, the one card that creates a token that both machine helps you going into the Gimmick Puppet Link monster. But in the end, I felt like this was the better take and it fit better to the deck. But if you don't want to play it, then I guess you don't have to. Dreary Doll card that you can get back from your graveyard, but you have to have a different Gimmick Puppet in your graveyard for this, so it can be quite situational, but it's a target for machine dupe, which makes it pretty good to go into Link monsters. And sadly, you can only special summon Xyz, like can only be used for Xyz material for a Gimmick Puppet monster, so that is kind of off the table. Using it for anything very good, I think it's still helpful for like the Giant Grinder, because Giant Grinder isn't horrible going second. It's okay. It's nothing to complain about in my opinion. Gimmick Puppet Egghead helps with rank 4s, helps with rank 8s. It's a normal summonable card. All you have to do is discard a Gimmick Puppet. Can be annoying from time to time, but it sets up for Dreary Doll as well, and I really like it in the deck. It works out being able to support the Utopia double OTK as well. Another card that I've not seen that much is Destroy. It is good in my opinion. If it gets negated, it's worthless and your turn is basically over, but it can help you set up for your Link summon. It can help you set up for a rank 4. It can help you set up a ranked 8. Even if you only special summon 1 monster from your hand, it gets itself into the graveyard. So Dreary Doll might be live after this point. So I feel like this card is actually the better option over Scissor Arms, because Scissor Arms isn't even like a 1-card combo Foolish Burial thing, because the only card you really want to send to the graveyard so far, because I have not included the new cards in this deck yet. I will make an updated list once the new cards come out in the TCG. Then this card might be more relevant, because there is cards that actually have effects in the graveyard. But right now, even sending Dreary Doll to the graveyard, if you don't have another Gimmick Puppet in the graveyard, it is not as helpful. So I decided to only go 1. But if you want to go triple Puppet Scissor Arms for whatever reason, then swap this card out and make sure you still have enough level 4s. Humpty Dumpty helps you with them making the Link Monster and any rank 4, because there's no restriction that you can only use it for Xyz Monsters that are like Gimmick Puppets, because there were no level like rank 4 Gimmick Puppet Xyz Monsters back in the day, so that would be a total bonkers restriction on that sense. But since there's going to be one at one point in the future, this card could come even in more handy. Plus, it's a target for Machine Dupe, which Machine Dupe is a card that was not as strong in the deck because you had to have the setup. With the Link Monster being out, it kind of helps you searching any kind of Gimmick Puppets, so searching both of those cards is an option and instantly special summoning them out. So Machine Dupe is barely ever a dead card in hand. Only problem is if you use Machine Dupe on Humpty Dumpty after you've summoned him with the Link Monster, then you're locked to Machine Xyz Monster, so the only thing that you can go for is Heavy Armor Chain. There's more cards, but I felt like this was the best one. You could go for the Dreadnought, but it fills your X-Ray up a little bit more because you obviously want to use its effect and you want to get a monster on board with like a higher rank then, and like rank 10 or higher machine monster. And it can work and it can be quite good, especially OTK focused, but it's quite situational, and I felt like the extract like this was fine, but if you want to run it, then sure do so. For a go second deck, you obviously need to have some hand traps. It's the cheapest ones that still have enough impact on the game. You want to stop your opponent from building a crazy negate board, so I felt like these were coming in handy. Machine Dupe already basically explained what that card is for. Junk Puppet, I run it at 2 because you can only activate it once per turn, so the third one would be Monster Reborn in this kind of sense. You could play 3, but if you then start with 2 and you don't even have a graveyard set up, this card can be quite annoying, where I feel like Monster Reborn doesn't really care about this kind of stuff. One Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, you could play 3 if you're side decking as well, and Twin Twisters aren't really helpful because you're playing against some Guard Dragon shenanigans. Then getting the Interrupted Kaiju Slumber at 3 possibly can be neater because you want to kind of break boards or at least bait some negates with this card. Plus getting yourself a level 8 monster can be super nice. Twin Twister is just a good card against like Altergeist, Salamangreat, Sky Striker, Orcust. In general, this card, Mystic Mind, this card helps a lot, so I felt like running it in the main deck, not just the side deck. Well, you can obviously decide that yourself. And one Double Nothing, because this is an easy OTK if you're running a deck that can easily make a rank 4, which this deck surely can. So I felt like including this wasn't too bad. Cypher Blade, Dragon, all the kind of rank 8s that you don't have to play, but I felt like are kind of neat if you can get them out, clearing the boards, going in for some damage. This guy is not super bad because you have a lot of monsters that you maybe want to get into the graveyard. Popping some cards on the field isn't super bad. With Dreary Roll, maybe you have some cards on the board then that you don't really need on your board anymore, but you can still get there, so like sacrificing them for destroying cards isn't super bad. One Gimmick Puppet of Strings, horrible card in my opinion, horrible design. You're getting rid of your own monsters, it takes ages till you do something, but it's a Gimmick Puppet monster with a high attack value, so I felt like you have to at least run one in a Gimmick Puppet deck, even if you're not playing the rank up magic, which I decided not to. With the new trap card being a searcher, you could actually do it, but I felt like here it was maybe a coin flip of like, do I draw it? If I draw it too early, if I can't use it, then it's wasted. And even if you do it, the cards aren't that great that's worth running this over like Disruption or anything that actually gets your play started, rather than doing like a win more kind of thing, because I feel like if you get this off, you're going to probably win the duel anyway. Double at least a Giant Grinder, because you can get this card off multiple times and the effect is fairly strong going second. The attack value is, I wish the card would be the other way, so it has 2,500 attack. Well, it doesn't, so you have to deal with this. One Utopia the Lightning, actually, if your search effect gets negated with double, then you still have like at least a 5,000 beater that you can do stuff with, or you can run over things with, and you're not locked into an Xyz monster that you can't do anything with anymore. Utopia, just need for Utopia double afterwards. The chain, basically your only rank 4 that you can do when you use Machine Dupe, or if you used your like after you used your Link Monster. So this card can be quite nice, can make one of your machine monsters attack directly. If you're lacking some damage, when this card gets destroyed by battle card effect, you can add one level 4 machine type monster from deck to your hand. Can be nice, isn't super wasted, so I felt like this card would be neat, but like I said, Dreadnought, you can obviously play Exciton Knight, board wipe, easy. You use up a lot of resources, so your hand size will probably be less than your opponent's board size, so this card comes in handy. BOL or Dragon, not as expensive anymore, easily makeable. 3 effect plus monsters, doesn't have to be different names or anything, they all affect monsters, so easy. And double the Link Monster, it's a good play starter, it gets you going if you don't get negated, and it has quite a lot of potential. Obviously, if the restriction wouldn't be on it, would be way better, but I see why there is a restriction on it, so there's that. What you could actually run in this deck if you want to swap out certain things is Cyber Dragon, because first of all, you can go into Chimera Fleet Dragon, getting rid of one of your opponent's negates or some crazy shenanigans that he has in his extra monster zone, and then you can still go for the Gimmick Puppet Link Monster, because it just takes 2 machine monsters, so having actually this kind of thing going on, because this is a machine monster, it only cannot be used as a fusion material, but it can be used as a link material, so you could actually get rid of the Mega Fleet Dragon afterwards, which I felt like was quite a neat combo. Like I said, you can play Sky Strikers for the engine as well if you really want to go into the Link Monster here. I felt like it's too expensive still, and it's kind of unnecessary and clogs up the deck a little bit with just for going to the Link Monster. This deck has enough place to actually go into it, in my opinion. If you want to, you can play one of the machine kaijus as well, so you could get the Link Monster even better, but that is up to you. Hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Give it a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments if you want to see any other kind of specific decks, if you have any suggestions for the deck, and I hope you have a good day.